Okay guys, now we move on. Question number 6 onwards. True, false, not given. I tell you, there is a mechanism in true, false, not given as well. Sometimes there is one word which decides whether the answer is true, false or not given. And that word can be majority. That word can be most of. That word can be all. Okay? Sometimes it's a phrase. A phrase is a group of words, like 3, 4, 5 words that decides. So whenever you read the questions, you need to decide immediately which thing is going to decide whether the answer is true, false or not given. I tell you how to find that. And then you will look for that specific information within the question and you'll find it like this. Okay, let's do it. Question number 6. Significant numbers of thylacines. Underline significant number. In true, false, not given, they always give words like this. Significant numbers of thylacines were killed by human. Now, significant number were killed by human from 1830s onwards. Look here. Look here. If majority of thylacines were killed by human from 1830s, answer is true. If they were killed by hunters, hunter is human, people, okay, then the answer can be true. If they were killed by wild dogs, you know, they said Europeans introduced wild dogs. So if majority of thylacines, they were killed by wild dogs, not by human, answer is false. And if they don't tell us that the majority or significant number of thylacines, whether they were killed by human or by dogs, then answer is not given. In every question of true, false, not given, you have to find this very thing, right? So there they use the word significant number and 1830s. Please come back, look for 1830s. Second page, first paragraph. Got it? Second page of the passage, first paragraph. The dramatic decline of thylacine in Tasmania, which began in the 1930s. Now see that you easily found 1830s. So first thing is to find the location of the answer. What do we call it? Location of the answer. I'm reading first line. 1830s and continued for a century is generally attributed to the relentless efforts of sheep farmers and bounty hunters with shotgun. Now who killed most of them? Sheep farmers and bounty hunters. Now what is bounty hunter? Have you noticed one thing? They have given double star here. Some words which are really unusual or any terminology, they give the meaning. If you come down, bounty hunters, people who are paid a reward for killing a wild animal, they are called bounty hunters. So what do they say here? And continued for a century is generally attributed to most of the killers of thylacine. They were sheep farmers and bounty hunters, and both of them are human. So please come back. Significant number of thylacines were killed by humans. For humans they use the word farmers and bounty hunters. Good? Clear? Good. And you should write true, T-R-U-E, true, or capital T, whatever. Let's go on. Question number 7. Several thylacines were born in zoos. Underline several thylacines born in zoo during the late 1800s. Now listen. Late 1800s. What does it mean? This is very important point. Late 1800s. What does it mean? No, listen. Late 1800s means 1770, 1780, 1790, 1795. Remember this thing. Now, which century is going on? 21st century. But what do you write? 2022. 2022 means, 20 is 20th. You understand this point? 20 is 20th and the century is 21st. So this is what you need to understand. When they say 1800s, don't look for 1800. Look for 17 something. Okay, and as they said, late means 1785, 1795 and all that. So several thylacines were born in zoos. Let's go back. Questions and answers are in order. Found the word? Okay, next paragraph, and we've got this first line. All right, let's just go on. There was only one successful attempt to breed a thylacine in captivity. In captivity means in the zoo. Captivity means in the zoo. There was only one successful attempt to breed a thylacine in captivity at Melbourne Zoo in 1899. Now, what is 1899? It's late 19. It's not early 1800s. It's late 19. And then they use the word several thylacines. But over here, what do they say? There was only one successful. So there are two ways by which this answer is false. Absolutely. And two ways. One is this 1899, and second is there was only one successful attempt. Okay? Got it? All clear? Good. And again, I'm saying underline that line where there is the answer. Go back home and practice again. Okay, question number 8, please. John Gould. John Gould's prediction about thylacine surprised some biologists. Underline the word surprised. John Gould is a name. John Gould was a scientist, a bird scientist and all that. John Gould's prediction about thylacine surprised some biologists. Now look here. Over here, only the word surprised will decide whether the answer is true, false or not given. If John Gould's prediction surprised the scientists, like scientists were amazed, answer is true. If scientists were expecting that and for them it was normal, they were not surprised, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether the scientists were surprised or not, then the answer is not given. What is the clue word? John Gould. Absolutely. Please come back. Exactly. Third line of third last paragraph. The famous naturalist John Gould foresaw means predicted, the thylacine's demise, okay, when he published his Mammals of Australia between 1848 and 1863, writing, the numbers of this singular animal will speedily diminish, extermination will have its full sway, and it will then, like the wolf of England and Scotland, be recorded as an animal of the past. Have they mentioned anything that the scientists were surprised? So the answer is, well done. Got it now? Good job. This is part 1. ठहर जाओ, अभी part 2, 3 आने दो, फिर देखना सांप सूंघता है. Okay, that's normal. All right, let's go on. Question number 9. In the early 1900s, what is that? Early 1900s, 18 something. Many scientists became worried, underline became worried. Many scientists became worried about the possible extinction of thylacine. Now listen, if scientists became worried about the possible extinction of thylacine, answer is true. If scientists did not pay any attention, if they did not notice about it, then the answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether the scientists were worried or not, then the answer is not given. Let's go back. Question number 9, second last paragraph. However, there seems to have been little public pressure to preserve the thylacine. Understand this sentence? They say, however, there seems to have been little public pressure to preserve the thylacine, nor was much concern expressed by scientists. So what does it mean? Scientists were not worried. When they use the word concerned, they use the word nor was much concern expressed by scientists. So when scientists were not concerned, they were not worried. So the answer is false. If you do Ielts reading logically with understanding, believe me, it's going to be easier for you. And if you're going to move here and there, for answer of question number 1. For example, you are reading middle paragraph, then you read another paragraph, then you read more. In IELTS reading, when you start reading more, you will start getting confused, and then you will never find the answers. Okay, so be careful. Have you noticed one thing? We are reading only 1 to 2 lines for each answer. We are reading 1 to 2 lines. And how do we reach there? We read the question. From the question we find the clue word and we go there. Okay, let's go on. Question number 10. TT Flying. Now, what's the clue word? TT Flying's proposal to rehome captive Thylacines. Rehome. Rehome means bring them back. For example, in Pakistan, there is a place called Color Kohar. And once upon a time, there used to be peacocks there. Now they have just few peacocks. So rehome means we bring some peacocks and leave them there. That means rehome. So TT Flying's proposal to rehome captive Thylacines on an island proved to be impractical. Now listen, if his proposal was practical, answer is false. If his proposal was impractical, impractical means not practical, answer is true. And if they don't tell us, they talk about his proposal, but they don't tell us whether it was practical or impractical and all that, then the answer is not given. Now let's go back. Third line. Second last paragraph, third line. A notable exception was T.T. Flying, professor of biology at the University of Tasmania. In 1914, he was sufficiently concerned about the scarcity of the thylacine to suggest that some should be captured and placed on a small island. But it was not until 1929, with the species on the very edge of extinction, that Tasmania's Animal and Birds Protection Board passed blah 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 blah. See that? They did not mention anything whether his proposal was acceptable or practical or impractical. Now have you noticed one thing? Just one word. Practical or impractical, or no mention of that very thing, which decided the answer is true, false or not given. So question number 10, answer is not given. Okay, question number 11 please. There were still reasonable numbers of thylacine. Underline, still reasonable number of thylacines in existence when a piece of legislation protecting the species during their breeding season was passed. Okay, now listen. They made a legislation that during the breeding season of thylacine, they will not kill them. Okay, what was the law? The law when a piece of legislation protecting the species during their breeding season was passed. Now, when they passed the law, try to understand the question. When they passed the law, there were still reasonable numbers of thylacine. Now, if when they passed the law, there were reasonable number of thylacines, answer is yes. If at that time there were just few or small number of thylacines, then the answer is false. And if they don't tell us when they passed the law there was reasonable number or small number, then the answer is not given. So please let's come back. Same paragraph. Look for the word law, legislation and all that. Yes, I'm reading second last paragraph from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line, but it was not until 1929. Found it? Okay. Alright. So let's read from here. But it was not until 1929 when the species on the very edge of extinction. What does it mean? Few. Small number. Very edge of extinction. Okay. Extinction. That Tasmania's Animal and Birds Protection Board passed a motion protecting thylacine only for the month of December, which was thought to be their prime breeding season. So what happened? There was significant number or just what? What is the question? There were still reasonable numbers. मैंने नहर में धक्का दे देने जो true की आवाज निकाल रहे हैं. Listen, still reasonable number, and over there they say they were on the brink of becoming extinct. Extinct का मतलब होता है नापैद हो जाना, खत्म हो जाना. Like dinosaurs are extinct now. So over here they say reasonable number of animals. In the passage they say they were becoming extinct. This information is contradictory. So the answer is, huh? False. Answer is false. Okay. कहीं शायद कुछ और आ गया मार्केट में नया है. Okay. Question number 12 please. Question number 12. From 1930 to 1936, the only known living thylacines were all in captivity. In true false not given, word all is very dangerous. Encircle all. And imagine the question, 1930s to 1936, that is your clue word. Now they say only known living thylacines were all in captivity. Now listen, if only known thylacines were all in captivity, answer is true. If some were in the jungle and some were in captivity, it means not all. If they use the word majority of them, they were in captivity. Now majority does not mean all. Okay, you just have to focus the word all. Let's go back. Same paragraph, and you see the word 1930. I'm reading it from fourth last line. The last known wild thylacine to be killed was shot by a farmer in the northeast of Tasmania. What does it mean? Farmer ne to maar diya. Okay. All right. They say, I'm reading this one again. The last known wild thylacine to be killed was shot by a farmer in the northeast of Tasmania in 1930, leaving just captive specimens. Official protection of the species by Tasmanian government was introduced in July 1936, 15 days before the last known individual died in Hobart Zoo. So last one also died in Hobart Zoo. Now please come back. Wait a minute, let's read the question, then we decide. From 1930 to 1936, the only known living thylacine were all in captivity. Now listen, how many were left? Okay, so please come back here. What do they say? We read it again. They said here, after this, the last known wild thylacine. Last known, that was wild thylacine, but we are looking for thylacine in captivity, in the zoo. To be killed was farmer. Then they say, leaving just captive specimens. Now what are those captive specimens? Official protection of the species by Tasmanian government was introduced in July. Then they say 59 days before the last known individual died. Last known individual died in Hobart Zoo. So what does that mean? Only known living thylacine were all in captivity. All in captivity means they had only one. So that one was all. So the answer is true. Read again if you think it is false. Just focus the word all. And for all they only said the last one. See, last known individual. Okay, underline the word last known individual. Last known individual means all. Clear? Last known individual, that means all. Yes, please. Yeah? No, but when we come to the, no, that we are not reading about that. That was killed by a farmer. We are not reading about that. We are reading the last line, where they say last known individual died in Hobart Zoo. We are reading that one, okay? So the answer is true. Okay, let's go on. Yes, the only living thylacine were all in captivity. So that was in captivity.
Farmer killed in 1930.
Yeah?
It must be included in that.
It is included, yeah. Okay, let's go on. Please come to question number 13. When they say 1936 July, so that includes it. Huh? क्यों नहीं थे? पढ़े तो सही. क्या लिखा हुआ है? लास्ट नोन इंडिविजुअल डाइड इन होबार्ट जू. जू किसको कहते हैं? हाँ? That was killed by a farmer. We are not talking about that. उसके साथ क्या लिखा हुआ है? देखें, wild thylacine. We are not concerned about wild thylacine. What are we concerned about?
It's about the type actually, wild type and
Wild is not in the zoo, but we are concerned about the thylacine in the zoo. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, if you're confused, it's your own confusion. In IELTS reading, it's all clear. अगर आपको लग रहा है ना, वो आपको ही लग रहा है. Okay, yes. Let's go on. Question number 13. Attempts to find living thylacines are now rarely made. Okay, attempts to find living thylacines. Now means present. Okay, now if they say attempts to find living thylacines are now rarely made, means just sometimes they try to find thylacine, otherwise they don't make any attempt. Attempt means koshish, try. Last paragraph. There have been numerous expeditions, underline numerous expeditions, and searches for thylacine over the years, none of which has produced definitive evidence that thylacine still exists. The species, focus this line, the species was declared extinct by Tasmanian government in 1886. Now listen, you guys know, look here, try to understand. You guys know dinosaur is an extinct. Now, are there any scientists who are searching for dinosaurs on planet Earth? No, because it is confirmed extinct. So they say here, the species was declared extinct by Tasmanian government in 1986. When something becomes extinct, then why will people go and find it? Question number 13. Attempts to find living thylacines are now rarely made. Very technical question. What is the answer? Excellent, not given. Because they did not tell us. Now they say the animal has become extinct. So when some animal has become extinct, they will not look for it.
last paragraph mein there have been numerous expeditions.
Past tense, sir. Past tense. No, just a second. He's right. Listen, in the question they have used the word now. Try to understand my point. Now means present. There have been numerous expeditions means past. हाँ जी, हाँ ये ऐसी करूं पढ़ के आने. ठीक है, all good, thank you.